Hi, I'm Dr. Jason G. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. This is just an update on the iPad 2 giveaway. Today's the 23rd. Tomorrow is the deadline. Tomorrow midnight is the deadline, so there's about 2 full days worth of submissions left. First, I want to thank everybody that submitted. I've watched all the videos. It's going to be difficult to choose from. The most recent submission that I watched was from Pip. So I've watched everybody's videos up until Pip's most recent submission. Not the first one with the arrow in the knee, which was absolutely hilarious. But here's the iPad right here. It's in the box. Brand new iPad 2. And it's here for one of you guys. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is to, one, thank everybody that did submit for their submission, and to let all of you know that I have watched your videos. And then, I firmly believe in practicing what you preach. So since I'm telling you to share what philosophy has done for you, I'm going to be really quick. I'm not going to go into the whole spiel. But, a more personal account of why I'm a philosopher. One, philosophy for me is a tool, personally. It's a tool of accessing information in the world. It's a tool of strengthening oneself. And as a kid, I felt weak forever. I felt weak up until I was maybe about 14, 15. That's when I started to change and, I had to man up. I didn't know I was a philosopher at that time in my life, but I ended up recognizing that I like this weird thinking. I like to think in this sort of strange way. And philosophy, when I finally discovered it as a discipline in college, many years later, probably a decade later, 23, 24, something like that. When I finally discovered philosophy and recognized what the discipline was, I was like, it just hit an accord. I was like, that's what I do. These are the type of people that I associate with. One of the videos contributors said something like the professor was all disheveled, smelled like cigarettes and some other crap, right? It's like, yeah, that's prototypical philosopher. Scrubby, not clean, don't really care, sort of agitated. That's philosophy, right? So I felt at home, and in a sense, philosophy gave me everything that I have. I mean, my story is very, very personal. I can't talk about philosophy without being personal. I went to school at the University of South Florida, go Bulls, and I met my wife there. If I wasn't studying philosophy, I wouldn't have met my wife. I had my kids as a consequence. All of that traces back to philosophy. Philosophy was a discipline that found me employment. Philosophy is the fuel that drives my YouTube channel, and I get so much out of this YouTube channel. For me, it's like philosophy is inextricably bound to who I am as a person. Philosophy is in my blood. It's everything that I think about. It's everything that I am. And for me, it's like, dude, giving away a iPad 2, that's the least I can do for the discipline that's done so much for me. I can go into more personal accounts, but I didn't want you to feel like I wasn't willing to share and I was asking for something. Obviously, I'm not contributing to my own series, right? I can't win the iPad 2. This is more about just an insight into sort of why philosophy is what it is for me. And for me, philosophy is a tool of empowerment. It really is. The whole point of my YouTube channel is for this to serve as a tool of empowerment. I want you to be able to think critically. I want you, as one contributor said, to be a street philosopher and to be comfortable in the fact that you can reason with the best of them, right? Because it's not about the degree that you have. It's about the knowledge that you have. And there's one thing you're definitely going to get from me on my YouTube channel is knowledge. Like, philosophy is a means of, it's the conduit, right? It's the vehicle by which I transfer power, right? Me personally, Jason J. Campbell. Right? It's the way in which I give people power. I empower people, right? That's big time. That's official, right? That's what philosophy is for me personally, right? Philosophy is the way in which that I mold my kids' minds, right? My kids are budding as philosophers. They think critically. They look at the world in a skeptical way, right? Even the things that I tell them, my children challenge me on a daily basis. But Dad, you said this yesterday. And if you said that, then, that's not fair because earlier, remember when you said that? Holy crap, yeah, you're right. Never thought of that, right? Philosophy is a way of me checking my ego at the door, right? Philosophy is a way to allow students to be able to call my bluff, right? To be able to say, hey, you didn't say that right, or you don't understand that right, or you haven't recognized how you've missed a step, right? Philosophy is a way of ego checking, right? Whenever you think you're just so smart and so above everybody else, it's a way of ego checking. So for me, philosophy does that. It fulfills that void. In a more personal level, as far as when I was developing as a kid, you know, it's really difficult to be in a situation as an adolescent and not to have physical strength. And Nietzsche talks about this, right? You don't have physical strength. I was very, very skinny. I was very nerdy, and I didn't have any friends in school when I was in high school. Yeah, when I was in high school, I had one friend, I think, who was a friend because, you know, he felt bad for me, maybe. You know, I ran track. I was good at that. I was a good athlete, but I was too nerdy to be an athlete, and I was too much of a jock to be with the nerds, so I didn't really have friends in high school. I didn't really have friends in college. I joined a fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma, and my frat brothers are cool, but I never fit in with the frat life. You know, you did that for a year or two. I was sort of misdirected. I wanted to party, so that didn't work out. I had a group of friends that I clicked with in college for a little bit, but you know, people go on their way, and I remember very, very clearly some of the greatest conversations that I've ever had in my life, some of the greatest discussions I've ever had were after like an intro to philosophy course. We had a class called Pro Seminar at USF where it was like an introduction to all things philosophy, and like 8 professors taught the class. And every few weeks you'd rotate a new professor and you got a different taste, right? The ethicist would come in, the epistemologist would come in, the metaphysician would come in, and they'd all give their spiel. And, you know, class would let out at 9 o'clock. From 6 to 9 p.m., we go outside and we talk from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning about philosophy. And then I realized that, you know, for me, a person who's socially inept, a person who doesn't really talk well with people in the real world, you wouldn't know that from my YouTube channel. I'm very, very isolated, very, very introverted to this day. I don't really talk unless I'm in a position where I'm giving knowledge. Regular chit-chat conversation, like Larry David says, you know, the stop and chat, I don't do that. But philosophy really became a vehicle for me to be able to engage other people, to be able to talk. Most of you wouldn't engage me. None of you probably would engage me unless philosophy was there as, again, the conduit, the means by which we could have something to talk about, right? So for me, it's you know, philosophy's just the greatest thing ever, period. It's just like when I'm dead and the maggots have ravaged my flesh, if there's any video, if there's any contribution that I did, I want people to know that Dr. Campbell was really, really, really die-hard philosopher, and he gave everything that he had in his being to make sure that it remains viable, socially, culturally viable, and obviously academically viable as a discipline, because I don't think there's anything more enlightening than a new mind getting access to new thoughts that you never thought you could access. So yeah, philosophy's the shit. So with that, that's my quick 2 cents. Thanks everybody. I'll be looking forward for the rest of the submissions. I will make my next video announcing the winner, and then I will privately be asking you for your mailing address, and I'll ship you the iPad too. It would be cool if the person that wins, if you just, you know, announce to the world that you actually got the iPad too, so they don't think that like this is like a big hoax or whatever, because it's not. But as you saw, this is all for philosophy. So once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Goodbye.